Hey, it's your boy Sean and welcome to the show. On today's episode, I want to talk about the Dodge Copperhead. Now, I know a lot of the younger people aren't gonna know this car unless they played a few video games that it was in, but they won't know it by that name, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the Copperhead was a concept car that was introduced to us in the late 90s, 1997 to be exact. And this was supposed to be that Dodge sports car for folks who couldn't or didn't want to pay the $75,000 for the amazing and insane Dodge Viper. And this car isn't just a Viper with a body kit. It's got a longer wheelbase, it's shorter and not as wide or muscular as the Viper was. It also doesn't have that V10 or the power. It is a V6, from what I understand, the same V6 that was found in the Dodge Intrepid. Only difference is it had a close ratio 5-speed manual, and the car made 220 horsepower with about 180 something pound-foot of torque. And by today's standards, that ain't much of nothing, but back in the day, that was enough just to, speed on the strip or do whatever in the back roads, if that's what people wanted to do with this type of car. I guess it really would have depended on how many Chrysler would have built. If it wasn't gonna be around 1,000, even though I see this as a full-blown production car, then people probably would just put it in a box somewhere and be trying to sell it for whatever, God knows how much today. And looking back at this car, it had a lot of things that I didn't even realize as a kid growing up a fan of this thing. It had 18-inch rims in the front and 20-inch rims in the back, which was insane for that time period. They wasn't really putting big rims like that on cars. That was more of a aftermarket thing that was going on in the 2000s, and to see that they were ahead of the curve back then was pretty amazing. And those wheels, not the greatest design, but still look insane because of how big they were from factory. They also had custom tires from Goodyear with a snake pattern in it. I don't know how that would have affected traction and stability and grip and all that stuff with that crazy design, but I didn't realize that until reading up on this car. I have pictures of the car and never even looked to see if the tires had a crazy pattern to them. I was like, wow, how did I not see this till 20 years after the car was unveiled? And like the video I made a few years back when I started this series, I have fond memories of this car too. I had a model of this car along with that certain Mustang you guys might know about. And I was a kid, so I didn't have much money. Whenever I got changed, I save it up or whatever, and the models would go on sale and I would buy them, and I had it for a while. And I guess I got to high school or whatever and kind of lost track of it. And I wish I would have still had that model today, because I got it before Dodge and Chrysler got in a naming dispute with a couple of famous people, which I won't name, you can read it online, and had to just change the name to Concept, which also forced them to change the name of the car in the video games like Gran Turismo and Gran Turismo 2, which I didn't even realize at the time. I didn't know they had a controversy with the name, which brings me to why I think this car never made it past the Concept name. Chrysler and Dodge couldn't get that copyright or that ability to use the name that they wanted. A lot of the car's design and features were based upon this name, from the copper fire orange color to the snake pattern tire trim. And I'm sure Dodge didn't want to put up with the hassle of trying to come up with another name for this car they've been developing for years. So, but hey, that's just my opinion. I really don't know why. There could also been other factors, you know, Plymouth, and you know, the Prowler was an amazing looking car. It wasn't a well selling car because it was lacking in power. It had an amazing look, but it didn't have that crazy hot rod speed. And I'm sure Dodge felt maybe this car won't live up to the expectation people might have for the car. And a lot of people feel that the Copperhead still live through that next generation, third generation Dodge Viper, because they have similar styling, and a color option for the Viper is also of that copper fire orange. But you also have to remember the Copperhead was based on the Viper, so it's not like that car took inspiration from the Copperhead. It's more like the other way around. It's just a continuation of that design, you know, philosophy and design cues from the first generation Viper. And I would have liked to see how that design for the Copperhead would have progressed today, and what car it would compete against. I see it being in the same category as a Porsche Cayman, BMW M Series 3 or 2, and something like that. But those are just my thoughts. Maybe I'm giving the car too much credit. Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. Maybe it would be a modern classic car by today's standards, or maybe it would just be another throwaway sports car. I don't know. I guess we'll never know. With that said, I want to bring this episode to a close, but I want to end this a little different. I want to start a discussion on some of the concept cars we've seen over the years, some of the ones that were amazing and should have been built versus the ones that we actually got, and how some of these cars stack up by today's standards. Some cars like the Copperhead still look amazing to this day, while other cars look like a product of their time. So guys, ladies, tell me what you thought of the Dodge Copperhead. Do you think it was an amazing car, or do you think it was just another, you know, product of the 90s? And this series will be coming on Mondays, so hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and come see what we got planned for the channel. So if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you want to see what I got planned next, come see what I got planned next. I got a lot of store for this channel, and I really want you guys to be there with me. With that said, I'll catch you next time.